Well, what you specifically are looking at, because I understand you've been through this and have a lot more experience with this than I do. And I would rather learn than be proud.
I'm busy tomorrow. Marcy has me at 10 o'clock on Wednesday. Thursday, I have a 3 o'clock medical. The next week is shot because.
I worked. I mean, I sat at my desk.
Just city meetings.
So, Saturday, pretty much is my birthday. So like the 31st is my birthday. So my wife has had me block off everything for that entire day.
Okay,
The 29th is my son's birthday.
if I can, it's 7 o'clock. I want to call us to session.
Brooks,
Here.
Kushner,
Here.
Lund,
Here.
Bentley,
Here.
Holmberg.
Here. Like a motion for adoption of the agenda?
Move to adopt?
Brooks,
Yes.
Kushner,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Holmberg.
Yes. Okay, on approval of city council minutes, we have a correction.
We had two corrections.
Okay.
Did you all have any questions about what I have here? This somebody, I had them as absent and they were present, and then somebody else was not present, and I'll change that. And then I had you referred to as being the chairman pro tem and not the mayor in a study session on May the 10th.
That's all good.
Okay, so I just need a motion to.
Motion to approve item 4.1?
Brooks,
Yes.
Kushner,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Holmberg.
Yes. Okay, 4.2, the study session.
Motion to approve?
Brooks,
Yes.
Kushner,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Holmberg.
Yes. Item 4.3, city council minutes, July 12th.
Motion to approve 4.3?
Brooks,
Yes.
Kushner,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Holmberg.
Yes. Okay, item 5, we have a first and second reading ordinance. 5.1, an ordinance accepting sanitary sewer improvements for the Pine subdivision presented by Danielle Doolin.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. This evening, we have an ordinance to accept sanitary sewer at the Pines along Hill Lake Road. This is in the proximity of Hill Lake Road and Country View Lane. This is a multi-family residential subdivision that is going in place. The sanitary sewer has been installed. It has passed its 30-day waiting period for us to DNR to close the construction permit on it. And so now we are respectfully requesting this go as a first and second reading. There are actually 2 lagoons that will be taken offline with the installation and extension of this sewer main. So the sooner we can get those lagoons off of out of service, then the better we will be. If there are any questions?
Move to pass said ordinance to second reading by title?
Brooks,
Yes.
Kushner,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Holmberg.
Yes.
This is an ordinance accepting the sanitary sewer for the Pines at Hell Lake subdivision for maintenance by the city of Warrensburg, Missouri. This is for adoption or rejection. Brooks,
Yes.
Kushner,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Holmberg.
Yes. Okay, on to item 5.2, ordinance authorizing city manager and city clerk to execute a contract with Simcoe Contracting Group LLC for the east and west wastewater treatment plants geared centrifugal turbo blowers project. Okay.
We're gonna work on our project naming. I'll have to a little bit easier.
Well, I think it has to do with I need glasses, and so I was.
No, you're fine. Again, thank you for having us, allowing us to put this forward for consideration this evening. Each wastewater treatment plant has 3 blowers to aerate the liquids in this SBRs. We have 2 SBRs at each plant, and each plant has a dedicated blower to it. We also have a 3rd blower at each plant that is necessary for redundancy. The reason having a blower to aerate the liquids in the SBR is so important is that it provides oxygen to the microorganisms that remove the nutrients from the water that allow us to put it back into our waterways, the creeks and streams. So the dedicated blower for SBR number 2 at the West Wastewater Treatment Plant is out of service and it cannot be repaired. So it has actually been running off of the backup SBR for almost a year now. So due to the age of all of the SBRs that are at both plants, they are all 27 years or older. We are proposing to replace 1 blower at the West Plant and East Plant in 2021 and 1 blower at the East Plant and West Plant in 2022. Along with upgrading the equipment, the blowers will also be taken out of the basement and they will be placed adjacent to the SBRs. If you all remember when we were on our tours, I don't know if everyone went down there or not, but when those blowers kick on, it is very noisy down there. And so this would create a better work environment for our employees that are out there, as well as making it easier to work on the equipment if they are adjacent to the SBRs. We did receive 2 bids. Another piece. We are also anticipating, in addition to a safer work environment as well as easier to work on the equipment, we are also anticipating significant energy savings by replacing this older equipment. It is anticipated that we would have cost recovery of the new equipment within 5 years. We received 2 bids, one from Schmeichel Contracting at $671,000 and Empire Electric at approximately $708,000. We budgeted $500,000 for this project. However, it was about $171,000. The low bid was $171,000 over budget. Additionally, we had an unexpected engineering expense that was associated with this project due to moving the SBRs out of the basement and putting them adjacent to the blowers, as well as making sure that the new blowers will be compatible with the new SCADA equipment upgrade that we are also proposing in 2022. The equipment costs came in as expected. However, as we are seeing across the nation, construction costs right now are just more expensive. We do have, staff is recommending to use $201,000 of our reserves that we have available in the sewer fund to go ahead and move forward with this purchase. We understand that we have about $2.5 million in reserves, but we do think that the better work environment as well as the energy efficiencies that we will stand to realize once we have installed this equipment, that this is the right decision to move forward with for our wastewater treatment plants. Even after we expend this additional $200,000 out of our cash reserves, we still are expecting to have about $1.3 million available in cash balance at the end of the year. As I mentioned, we are also planning on doing another blower at the East Plant and the West Plant for FY 2022. We are wanting to use a similar procurement method that we did with the UV equipment at both plants. So we will purchase the blowers directly from the manufacturer and hoping to get some cash savings, or not cash, so get some savings from the manufacturer by purchasing the equipment directly from them next year when we purchase 2 more blowers. We're hoping that that will bring down the cost a little bit and we will be able to get it a little bit closer to the anticipated budget of that $500,000 number. So I will stand for any questions. Bill Graves, our senior project manager, is also here to answer any technical questions that you may have about the engineering, the equipment, the procurement method, or any of the other processes that you might have questions on.
Typical lifespan on the unit.
Oh, 20 years.
So we got what we paid for.
I'm
So
pretty sure
far?
we're gonna get what we paid for.
You
Sorry, John.
answered my question about the compatibility with the upgrades that we're going to be doing, so that's good. Second question, will we need to shut down water system or anything while it's being installed, or?
No, sir, they're going to alternate as they go.
Okay,
They'll bring one set up, and then before they shut it down.
I didn't know if there would be a disruption in
The
service.
disruption that they'll have will be minimum,
Okay,
and they'll gear up for a timing when they do that. So they'll have everything in place. In other words, in order to flip the switch, they'll have a set of time when there isn't. But that amount of time is allotted for.
okay.
I appreciate, I think it's a good investment. You spent extra engineering costs to make the conditions better and et cetera when you're touching a project. It's always a good time to upgrade what you would like. So I appreciate that immensely.
We are respectfully requesting this to go as a first and second reading. If you recall, we had to pull this off of a previous agenda, just so we could verify and make sure that the cash reserves were available and we would not be jeopardizing our financial situation by moving forward with this $200,000. So they, the group Spyco, they did agree to hold their prices for a little bit, an additional 30 days for us. So we are respectfully requesting this to go as a first and second reading. We do have experience with Schmeico contracting, and we've had satisfactory results with that firm.
I move to said bill be passed second reading by title.
Brooks, Kushner,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Holmberg.
Yes.
This is an ordinance authorizing the city manager and city clerk to execute a contract with Smyco Contracting Group LLC for the east-west wastewater treatment plant geared centrifugal turbo blowers project in the city of Warrensburg, Missouri. This is for adoption or rejection. Brooks,
Yes.
Kushner,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Holmberg.
Yes. Okay, on to 6 other business, 6.1. An ordinance, Nuke Pro 2, to correct a clerical error in ordinance 5663 concerning final plat of Allen Acres, third plat, a subdivision in the city of Warrensburg, Missouri, located north of Montserrat Park Road and east of Vest Drive. So Doug, how do you actually say that word?
You're close. It's not proton.
Okay, thank
Latin,
you.
it means now for then.
Go ahead, Barb. I just kind of
Yeah,
wondered how bad I butchered that one.
Yeah.
Well, now I'll get to try it and now you will know how it should be said, so we'll see. 2 weeks ago at your last meeting, you approved an ordinance for the Allen Acres third plat, the final plat of that. And in that there were a list of conditions, 2 conditions. And one of them was incorrectly stated. It was to correct the address on lot 44 from 1106 to 1006. And even though Jeremy Van Way and Fire wrote that correctly, when I moved it out of the software into the ordinance, I wrote it incorrectly. So the real address should be 1106. And because we want dispatch to get people there to the right place in the future, we want to get that right on the plat. And Jeff Hanna caught that when the engineer was ready to make that change the day after the meeting. So Doug has provided this ordinance, not proton, to correct the clerical error. And there is a specific motion, I believe, that's to be made in order to approve the change. I've written that in the recommendation section of the staff report. So staff would recommend approval of this ordinance by making a motion to correct ordinance number 5663, non proton, to correct a clerical error in a lot address.
So really your motion is just to substitute this corrected version in place of the ordinance, which is already passed. You're not passing a new ordinance, you're just correcting your prior.
Doug will be happy to answer any questions.
Make a motion and read that.
Hang on. It's your turn.
He says,
Move to approve the change.
does he have to say?
No, it's fine.
All right. Okay, and I don't have to say it either. I can just say for adoption or rejection. Brooks,
Yes.
Kushner,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Holmberg.
Yes. All right.
I think that's the second time that's come up in 20-some years, so.
Well, thank you for bringing
That's
it
pretty
tonight.
good.
I appreciate it. Okay, so 6.2, request for funding from the Stevenson Fund for the Teachers Warehouse at Johnson County.
This is an annual request from the Teachers Warehouse. And what they do is they buy school supplies and they have a warehouse out by Arwoods. And they stock it, and that allows the teachers to go out there and buy classroom supplies. It's a great, I mean,
Mhm.
the teachers rave about it. And anyway, and I know some of the gals that work out there work very hard to keep it going. So anyway, they are requesting $500, which they do annually. So we just need approval. And it'll be from the Stevenson Fund.
I move to approve.
This is for adoption or rejection. Brooks,
Yes.
Kushner,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Holmberg.
Yes. Okay, item 6.3, resolution to accept the firehouse sub grant presented by Chief Lockhart.
Mr. Mayor, members of the city council, I come to you tonight with money, $17,700 from Firehouse Subs. This became available to us when the restaurant opened in Warrensburg. So Major Munsterman and Sergeant Wade, the day they opened, applied for the grant, and we were notified earlier this month that we received it. This grant will be to replace SWAT vests, many of which are more than 10 years old. These vests come custom fitted to the officer, and all of the original vests and officers, the vests are here, the officers aren't anymore. So we'll be able to get a new set of vests fitted to the current SWAT team officers. Additionally, these newer materials are much lighter and offer better ballistic protection. So we'll be able to have our officers better protected when they're engaging in high-risk police activity. These are not everyday wear vests. These are entry vests. So these are vests that they wear just for SWAT missions. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
How many will they get?
What's that?
How many will they get?
They'll get us 7.
7. Okay.
Yeah, they're a lot more expensive. They're about twice as much as the regular vests.
Okay.
We recommend approval for acceptance.
Move to approve.
This is for adoption or rejection. Excuse me. Brooks,
Yes.
Kushner,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Holmberg.
Yes. Would you share with them appreciation for ask for the grant? That's really neat.
Yes, I will. Thank you. They worked really hard on it.
Okay, item number 7, appearances to the council not listed on the agenda. We don't have any, so item 8, miscellaneous matters from the mayor and or city council. You guys got anything? Okay. Mayoral appointments, we have one. We have Jill Purvis that recently was appointed to the Historic Preservation Commission. I want to reappoint her.
Move to approve appointment. Sorry.
This is for adoption or rejection. Brooks,
Yes.
Kushner,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Holmberg.
Yes. Okay, moving along. Item number 10, Director of Finance report.
Be happy to answer any questions in relation to the report on the monthly financials.
So I do have a question. I know I actually read these things, and so budget fiscal year 2021. When we say total revenue across all funds for fiscal year 2021 is showing nearly 40% remaining, result of approval amendments. Basically where we need to be, right? You've got to change because of the,
Right, and so what that's telling you is because we've included the $1.8 million in
Right.
anticipation of the American Rescue Plan money, we're not hitting budgets remaining, because right now you should be 3/4 through, so you should only have 25% remaining. and you're over that, and that's because the American Rescue Plan money is included in the budget. So
Okay.
when you take that money out, then we're right at.
So when it comes in though, we would be on track.
Oh, definitely.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We have a 10-1 community agreements discussion.
So good evening, Mayor and Council. Before you this evening, I've put together a report and handed out the paperwork and kind of recap this PowerPoint presentation for the community funding agreements. So as you recall, the 22 budget, well, so you know that the 22 budget development right at this moment shows that we're looking for an additional $400,000 either in revenue or expenditure reductions. That is before there is any salary or insurance premium increases. So we're gathering that information to figure out what our projected insurance costs are going to be for the 22 fiscal year. So this $400,000 excess expense over revenue also includes the amounts from the community partners. So over the past 6 years, the average funding level for the community partners is $170,000. For fiscal year 21, we reduced that significantly in anticipation of reduction in revenue and to help balance the budget, because that's our ultimate goal, is to make sure that revenue is meeting operating expenses. So fiscal year 22, those requests are back to $162,300, which is the prior year levels. So this next slide gives you that history, and if you'll flip to the back page of the report that I handed you, it might be a little easier to read. So it shows that the Base Community Council has been receiving $300,000 for the last $3,000, sorry, for the last 3 years. The Big Brothers and Big Sisters is using a piece of property that is owned by the city, and we've been funding them at about $6,000. They asked for $8,000 this year. The Bergfest has been funded at $5,000 in the past, and the Main Street sponsorship, is that the word I want to use, Daniels? Has a maximum of $1,000. So if somebody were to sponsor a program that Main Street is putting on, they would give them $1,000 for that particular piece. The Johnson County Economic Development Corporation provides lots of opportunity to help us grow economically, and it's been funded at $75,000 previously. The Oats Bus, it was the old drum transportation program for our seniors and challenged citizens. We provide that money at $15,000, which helps promote that transportation as a public transportation piece. Pioneer Trails Regional Planning Commission also gives us an opportunity to have funding available through the state in the regional planning processes. So that's that's kind of a membership as much as it is a request for services. In the past, the tree board and the Historic Preservation Commission was a part of this line item, because both of those are functions of the city themselves and appointed members by the mayor. We've moved those into an operational expense for the legislation services. So the depot renovation is a partnership with the depot to keep that property situated. And Main Street is also one of our partners that helps with our economic development, and those funding levels have been at $5,000 for the depot and $41,000 for Main Street. The Whiteman Area Leadership Council is been funded at $3,000 in the past, and again, this gives us the partnership with Whiteman as we grow our partnership and abilities to offer a shared housing opportunity and different things, so that we're very much involved in what's happening over at the Air Force Base as well. Previously, the Chamber of Commerce was a piece of this. That's gone to just a membership to the chamber. And then the Arts Commission, that money is funded through the ordinance that says that we will have 1% monies in a development project. And there's not been a development project that's provided any money to the Arts Commission the last 3 years. So also included in this line item, when you see the actual budget, will be the sales tax agreements for the Harris project over on Young Street and the facade grants that are sometimes requested and have been requested for the downtown Pine Street area and the downtown historic area. So those are included in this project, in this line item when you look at budget in total. So the last slide is the fiscal year 22 funding level request. So you all heard from each one of these organizations back in May. And the amount requested was $162,300. And staff has reviewed some of those and suggested some reductions. One of them is in the Big Brothers and Big Sisters back to the level that they were funded in previous years. The Bird Fest at $1,000 based on the Main Street scholarship, or not scholarship, sponsorship, thank you, allotment, and then $70,000 to JCDC in an effort to, again, reduce that $400,000+ over expenditure into a more balanced budget presentation as you receive those over the next 60 days for approval.
So a little bit more information on the Bird Fest line item.
That's where I was going to ask.
So yeah, sure. So a little bit more information on the Bird Fest. It was as we kind of dug into Bird Fest and trying to get an understanding of where this line item came from, is that it was money that was allotted by City Council in an effort to have a community-wide festival. And so it's my understanding that Main Street partnered with Big Brothers and Big Sisters, I believe, before, and that's really where this $5,000 had, and they came for it, and they asked for $5,000, and then Main Street just kind of took it under their wing, took it under their umbrella, and they really started doing the Bird Fest and planning it. And it's my understanding Big Brothers and Big Sisters has not necessarily been as involved, and there really hasn't been any other organization in our community that's been interested in doing a community-wide festival such as this, because Main Street has continued to do Bird Fest. So, looking at, that's my understanding of the history of the festival. And so just looking at, when we look at the sponsorship, and we're looking at doing, Jill and I have met, and we have had some good conversations about where we're going with the Main Street agreement and how we look at some of the events that they are doing. They've requested the last couple of years to have a little more flexibility in the events that they are offering. And I think that's something we want and we should be able to look at giving them, but it's probably going to have to be a little bit different in how we write that agreement. So while we haven't necessarily changed the Main Street's funding level, we will probably have some changes in their terms of their agreement on how we get to that $41,000. So that's a little bit of the history of the Bird Fest and reducing that amount there.
Can you guys share the justification or rationale for the reduction to the Warrensburg Depot renovation? Because they took the brunt of the force last year.
They did.
And deferred a lot of maintenance.
They did defer a lot of maintenance, and honestly, we have that opportunity to potentially get approximately $250,000, and if that money comes through with MoDOT, that meeting that we had that Norm was putting forward, that came to us, and Brett and I worked and we put together that opportunity. So holding out, hoping that we get that.
And I just want to add that there's opportunity with the American Rescue Plan to also partner with some of these organizations you know, because they are putting back the economic benefits to the city. And so we can potentially craft that, and the depot would be one of those pieces as well, because that's a tourism piece that was significantly hit because of the COVID situation. So that's, and again, this is just for budget. It could be revised as we see that things are better
Well,
going forward.
I apologize. And for me, because these are general revenue funds we have discretion over, correct?
Correct.
And so the other side of it is staff is always in a tough spot because we also want other priorities like public safety and et cetera, and, you know, salary raises and stuff. So it's always difficult when you cut something, but for me, the priorities would be on those other areas. So it's just, I appreciate your all's work. And so to be clear on it, you know, I'd like to have more money to fund everything. But
We all would.
so, and I don't know, any other comments?
Thank you all.
All right, city manager report, Danielle.
I think Danielle Fessler has one item that she wants to cover with you, and haven't heard from any of the other directors if they have anything additional that they want to share, but Danielle has one thing, and then Marcy had a good thing.
I have, they kind of go together, two things. We are really short-handed in our park maintenance division. I'm short 2 full-time staff and have been 1 full-time staff down since March. We just lost the other. We haven't really had any applications come in. And I've not had any full-time, we usually have 2 full-time seasonal help, and we don't have any, no one applied. So we're really, really short staffed right now. So asking for any grace in the parks if there's some areas that are a little behind. Danielle and I met today. We talked about some alternative options, potentially some contract mowing or having her help us. Because we're getting ready to go into our busy season, and we may have another person that'll be out for a little bit due to some underlying conditions. But we also have had a string of vandalism in Lime Boom, and that has been a real issue because we have to shut the bathrooms down. And if it continues, of course, we're very short staffed. We may have to shut the bathroom down early if the water pack out. So we hope it doesn't continue, but did want to make you aware of that.
Thank you very much.
2 things I have before Marcy speaks with you. We are terminating our mowing contract with our contractor for the cemetery. We have the same contractor for the citywide mowing as well as the wastewater treatment plants. However, the performance of the cemetery, which is on a separate contract, is unsatisfactory. So we will be terminating that agreement with them. And that was what Danielle had talked about. We might be looking for alternative opportunities to get the cemetery done. I think I shared with you all about our concerns with the performance out there previously. The last thing that, 2 more things. I have been in touch with Erica Collins with Journey House. So we will have someone come and present to you on the homelessness here in our community on August 9th. Additionally, her and I are trying to get a meeting together with a representative from Journey House that I can sit down and talk about. Some of the concerns our business owners and residents and visitors have shared with us over the last several weeks regarding some of the homeless people we've seen in downtown Warrensburg. Lastly, I sent an email to talk about our personnel budget and meeting scheduled with you all. It looks like August 3rd at 4 p.m. would be the best option. I've heard from most of you, but not all of you. So wanted to make sure that that would work.
I'm good.
August 3rd at 4, is that
Yes,
for how long?
probably an hour, depending on how many questions you have.
So hour and a half.
I don't know, sometimes you guys have lots of questions, sometimes we don't have any.
Location?
We can meet in the,
Community development.
yeah, let's meet in the community development room.
At 4.
Okay,
Got you down.
everybody got that?
Yep.
All right.
Ms. Brown?
Okay, your time's up, Marcy.
I know, I'm gonna move that before I knock it off. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the council. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. I tell you what, last year we, WCBB got hit hard, our hotels got hit hard. And they're still hurting right now. And so having a little bit, just a little bit to get excited about, to get really excited about. So please bear with me for the next few minutes. This year is a big year for our area and for the state. It's UCM's sesquicentennial. And they have been doing, I'm part of the 150 committee, and the committee, the UCM administration, they've done an incredible job of planning a year-long events to celebrate this occasion. A few months ago, you had this at your seats. Please let me know if you'd like extra copies. This was a magazine put together by the Star Journal and UCM. It has a lot of historical facts about UCM, CMSU, go down. A lot of great information in there, and we provided that out. We sent it to all of those that are in Jeff City that we know are alums, just to remind them that, you know, we're still here and we'd love to have them come back, especially at homecoming time. Homecoming is going to be absolutely huge this year. I'm really excited about that. There's also the book that you can purchase at the university store. It's a little bit over $40. A lot of great information. Kudos to Dr. Clifford and Ashley Guffey, who put that piece together. It is definitely a piece that you'll want on your bookshelf for a few years. Missouri Bicentennial. I'd like to talk about it. We've had several community events. We've got several that are coming up. We had to change things. I mentioned COVID earlier. We had the mural, the Missouri mural project set to come to Warrensburg. It was set to come to Bergfest 2019, and unfortunately, or 2020, sorry. And they couldn't come. And then we tried to get them for the quilt festival, and they weren't able to come with that because that event wasn't held. Fortunately, they moved the time up on that project, so we just weren't able to have them here. But we did have it in the works. It just did not work out. But we do have a lot of things that are working out. Missouri Main Street worked together with Missouri Division of Tourism and other partners to put together a really cool passport. And it's got different events throughout the state, throughout the year. And if you take this passport to go to the different events, they'll mark it just like a passport. And at the end, you'll have your passport filled, and you're going to have a really great experience and a lot of good memories. We have a lot of events. We've had a lot of events in Warrensburg in our area listed in this. We had the McClure Archives. They're doing the first 50 years, or first so many years, and then they've got their second exhibit, which opens really soon with the remaining years, and that'll run throughout the year. That's included. The historical tour they did, the spring was listed in there. And then Main Street, their walking tour, their historical tour they have in October is listed. So if you would like a passport, please let us know at the visitor center. We can get that for you, and also the amazing crew at Main Street, they have them as well. The bicentennial quilt, we're pretty proud of that. We do have a block. We worked with some different quilters guilds, and Tony Peerbolt submitted the winning quilt block, and it's a really beautiful piece. It's old drum, it's white and black, it's really stunning, and it has a really great location on the quilt, so we're pretty proud of that. It was just recently, this spring, it was at the McClure Archives, and so we had a lot of social media push for people to go and get to see that. Just last week, I learned about this project. I wasn't aware of it. There's also the Missouri State Park Bicentennial Quilt.
It was pretty cool too.
It was, yeah, it's very cool. And we got to go to the Noster State Park and go in the visitor center and visit with Daniel and his team, and we're able to see it, and we did some push on social media for that as well to get people out there to see it. Not only just to enjoy the park as well. The next few things I want to talk to you about, I'm going to go in a little bit deeper detail, but I promise I'll make it short and sweet. Missouri Bicentennial Time Capsule, we're going to be participating, and we're trying to get other organizations on board with that as well. We want some really great representation in that piece. Birthday party at Warrensburg Farmers Market, August 7th, and the ice cream social on August 10th. Okay, so St. Louis ambassadors and the State Historical Society of Missouri are working together on this project. It's the Missouri Bicentennial Time Capsule. And the time capsule will be housed at the State Historical Society of Missouri in Columbia for the next 25 years. So they're gonna house it there, they're gonna lock it up, and then 2046, they'll pull it up. It's open to Missouri organizations and institutions, businesses, local and state government agencies. There's a few requirements, and I get that. It is gonna be a big piece, and they're opening it up to so many. But they're requesting 3 items: something to represent your past, something to represent your present, and a note to future Missourians. And the submission can measure no larger than 8.5 by 14, which is a legal size paper. And it can't be, the entire project, your entire submission together cannot be more than 1/4 inch thick. The deadline's August 10th. WCBB and the city are really excited to work together. We're on a submission. Our goal is to have that submission sent and mailed to Columbia no later than August 5th. I spent some time last week at the Historical Society talking about different pieces they have, from calendars to books to postcards. We have a really great piece, so we're looking to maybe possibly include this. It's Lisa Earle's book that she wrote in 2002. It has the past, it has mention of our history of mules, from, old drum story to just Martin Warren and how we came to be. It's a really great piece, and I'm really paying attention to that ruler with this one. So the other pieces, the visitor guide, we're looking at what would represent our present. Right now we have a visitor guide that is in print. When we get that back, and we're able to get that back next week, we're gonna see how we are on space as well. But the note to future Missourians, we would love to include a letter from you all. And in that letter, you can include anything from current, economic standpoint of the community to your goals for Warrensburg in 25 years, your goals for Missouri in 25 years, current conditions throughout the nation, current leadership, and the goals as well. So there's a lot of different things you could include. If you go to the Missouri2021.org website, you can see some other submissions. I did that, and it was really interesting. They had a English Lit class submit. And it didn't say their ages, but a lot of them hit on COVID, the impact COVID's had on their life, and the fact that we all know, Zoom used to mean, an action, and now it's we're all meeting. And so the different changes that they've had to experience, and it was really interesting. They did a good job on that. So there's a lot of different ways you could go with that, but we would love to have that piece in there from the council. Today I was able to get UCM on board. UCM will be doing a submission, probably either the magazine that I just showed you, or another piece highlighting their 150 book. Of course, I told Dr. Clifford it's a little bit too thick. And the Johnson County Historical Society, they're going to meet tomorrow night to discuss their submission, so they're on board as well. And then Johnson County. And I know there was a lot of emails and email chains, so I know all of the local communities in Johnson County were contacted about the project by our county clerk, Diane Thompson. And so we're hoping to get, like I said, as much representation as we can. I had a moment at the Historical Society, and I just had to hit on it because it was one of those things that I was thinking about. Maybe you might be too. In the world of digital, it seems so crazy that I had to submit only 1/4 inch thick, and I couldn't just email it to him. And the really sweet, very smart volunteer at the Historical Society reminded me, in 25 years, what we're using may not work. And they may have a really cool something or another, but they may not be able to open it. Well, we can all look at a book. We can all look at a postcard. We can all look at those things. And so that's why that requirement, but it just seems so strange. It's so digital that we're going but no, that was good information to have, and it made me realize that yes, absolutely. In 25 years, we may not use some of the things that we're using now, like PCRs and those kind of things. The birthday party at the Warrensburg Farmers Market, we are so excited about that. Not only is it Marcella's birthday on August 7th, but it's gonna be a birthday party for Missouri at 8 o'clock. We're gonna open up and we're gonna run till supplies run out. I am so grateful for the Warrensburg Farmers Market for opening up this opportunity to work with them and doing this community event. We're gonna have cupcakes from 118 Bakery. We're gonna have community information and giveaways. You know, the snazzy little bags you have in front of you. Take a moment to look at them. They have the pocket in the front. Well, that's so we can put their community information and then give them the bags to go shop. So they can get their fresh produce and it won't impact any of their items in there. And so we're gonna put some community information in there, and then we're gonna encourage them to go visit the vendors and have a great time at the farmers market. We're gonna have a birthday card for Missouri. And we're gonna encourage everybody to sign it. If we have room, we'll have it at the ice cream social. But we have a place here at City Hall that we'll put it on display and we'll take some pictures and send it to the state. So the state, Missouri 2020 knows that we have that and it's up. People will be excited to see their name on that card. And we're gonna have some activities for children. We did kind of like when you go out to eat, you get the menu, the kids menu. So we did one of those and we folded it up and we've got 3 crayons in it so they can take it home with them. We just really had to do a lot of thinking of what we can do to offer a fun activity, but also a safe activity. So they won't have to stand there, they'll have their crayons and they can take it home and participate and we're still keeping everybody safe. August 10th. Now that is the Missouri Bicentennial Coalition, our commission, went together and said, what can we get everybody throughout the state to do to celebrate? Well, August 10th is Missouri's 200th anniversary of entering the statehood. And so they're asking everybody to come together for a good old ice cream social. You may not know this, but the ice cream cone is Missouri's official dessert. So what better than an ice cream social, right? That's your knowledge for the day. Okay, so we're gonna have this really cool party throughout the community. So many businesses have come together. They're offering specials, or different events, and we have that all listed on our Facebook page. We've done a brochure, a flyer with all of the events listed as well. We worked with them to get them registered on the Missouri 2021 website so that everybody knows throughout the state what we're doing and what we have going on. We contacted a lot of different organizations and asked them, we understood that maybe they may not be open, but we wanted them to celebrate as well with us and post their pictures on social media using the hashtag Scoops Across Missouri. So the Missouri Veterans Home here in Warrensburg is going to participate and they're going to share their pictures. The Warrensburg Senior Center is as well. They're doing their homebound meals, but they're going to participate as much as they can. The amazing City of Warrensburg employees are going to be having an ice cream social that afternoon. And Warrensburg Park and Rec, the summer day camp kids are going to celebrate as well. So we're really excited about that. If you would like a brochure with all of the events, we can definitely hook you up. We have a very special event that night, and it's going to be at the Grover Memorial Park, the shelter area down in the shade. The City of Warrensburg, Park and Rec, and WCBB are working together on this event. It's got free ice cream. You can't beat it. And then some free activities. We're going to have entertainment by Warrensburg's very own John Kennedy. John has a beautiful voice, and we're really excited to have him provide entertainment. We're encouraging everybody to bring their chairs, bring their blankets, stay with the crew, and just enjoy a fun night celebrating Missouri and just coming together as much as we can right now. We do have the ABC building in case of inclement weather. And I and interim city manager Doolin and Director Fessler are meeting to make sure that everything we're doing is to provide a safe event for our attendees. And so we'll continue to meet until the event to ensure all those items are taken care of. But we have a lot going on and it is really exciting. We provided all this information to our hotels. We have a e-newsletter that we send out and we've provided all that information to them so that they can let the others know as well. And tonight I wasn't able to have Noah join us. Noah Sweeney is an intern for the WCB this summer. Noah is actually attending the President's Concert right now and sharing those pictures on Instagram and Facebook for the WCBB. But Noah's been doing a lot of good work for this project. He is a UCM student focusing on event organization and he's really taken this interesting fact. We went to a lot of different businesses. We spoke to a lot of different people. Each time I was purchasing ice cream for Noah as a little treat. Noah's lactose intolerant. Poor little guy. He waited to the very end to tell me. He's like, Marcy, I'm good. And I said, it's okay. And he goes, no, really, I'm good. I can't deal with all this ice cream. So he's been a dynamic addition to the WCB this summer, and we're really happy to have him. He is actually going to be, both of our interns, Mackenzie as well, will be joining us that night to meet everybody and share some ice cream. So please come out August 10th that evening. I'll make sure to include it in the city manager's report up till time. Are there any questions in regarding the UCM 150 celebration or maybe the Missouri 200? Blew you away. You didn't have any questions, did you? Now you're all thinking about ice cream, aren't you? But no, please come out and please let others know as well. We do have an event, like I said, on our Facebook page, so please share. We would greatly appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, thank you. It's always nice to hear from the different departments. There's a lot going on. And Danielle Fessler, thanks for sharing, because, folks in the community like to chat about stuff, so we know what's going on. I think that's the end of the open session. We've got item 12, a closed session. Would someone care to read that, please?
Vote to close part of this meeting pursuant to section 610.021 of the revised statutes of Missouri relating to 3, hiring, firing, disciplining, or promoting of particular employees by a public governmental body when personal information about the employee is discussed or recorded. 13, individually identifiable personnel records, performance ratings, or records pertaining to employees or applicants for employment.
Brooks,
Yes.
Kushner,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Holmberg.
Yes. Nothing else that anybody has? Staff, community? We will adjourn.
Well, wait. Go on. Hey,